Hear that? Nothing? Me neither. But that's the perfect spot for your company's name to step into the spotlight. Become an underwriter for As You Mic It and let every episode be your curtain call. Slip a note to podcast@pashakespeare.org for more information.
Do you think that maybe if we have the Phantoms...
Well, that we definitely could do a tie-in.
Yeah.
We sponsor a power play.
Yeah.
The PSF power
The
play.
PSF power play.
I mean, that's what...
Oh, my gosh. I think
PSF power play.
I think it would be really good.
Yeah, I think they should do that. I think that's brilliant.
That would be the coolest sponsorship we've ever had. I doubt that
Look
they
at
would
that
get...
puck fly on the PSF power play.
I doubt they would give it to us. It would probably cost our entire production budget.
No, that could be their donation.
Yeah,
They could donate
we
the
could do
power
one
play.
night of the... Maybe if you guys sing the national anthem again, the PSF power play.
Hello, and welcome to As You Mic It in the Spotlight, the official podcast of Pennsylvania Shakespeare Festival. I'm Connie Behringer, associate producer here at PSF. This summer, we're exploring two productions that showcase the many ways theater sparks the imagination. One is a family adventure filled with music, magic, and heart. The other is a fast-paced Victorian mystery packed with intrigue, surprises, and amazing theatrical sleights of hand. Later in the episode, Jason sits down with longtime friend of the festival, Matt Pfeiffer, director of our production of Ken Ludwig's Moriarty. Together, they talk about bringing Sherlock Holmes to the stage, the joy of theatrical storytelling, and his decades-long relationship with Pennsylvania Shakespeare Festival. But first, let's talk about bringing Jason King Jones's newest family play to life, discovering the heart beneath its magic, and why this adventure is just as much fun for grown-ups as it is for kids. Joining us for this conversation are two of our young company members. They're playing Sheila and Eustace in Sheila the Magical, India Profitt, and Ian Higgins. Welcome, friends.
Hi.
Thanks. Hi.
Thanks for having us.
No, thank you for being here. You know, I love talking with our young company members, and it just seems like every summer it's just bringing this different energy and these different opportunities for all of you. So how's the summer been going so far?
It's been great. It's been a blast.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah? What have you been up to?
Well, we have two different tracks. I'm involved in the rep, which means I've been in rehearsals pretty constantly the whole time. And then Ian is in...
I've been an understudy for the complete works of Jane Austen Abridged. So that's been in shows for a couple weeks. So I've had my nights off. It's been very nice while I sit at home and wait for maybe a call.
We have you on speed dial just in case.
Yeah.
Yeah. I heard that there's going to be kind of a young company showcase coming up.
Yes, that is like new news. Yeah, that we're
just
gonna,
dropped.
Yeah, we're gonna sing some songs and show everybody what we got. It's very low stakes.
Yeah.
So you can really we're coming in with whatever makes us happy to sing, and maybe we can do it with 2 or 3 people. I don't know what I'm doing
Yeah,
yet.
it was some of the people who had some like free time kind of came up with the idea of, since some people are not being used, why not have like a fun day where you can just select something that you like to do and do it for a group of people.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. India, there are going to be some audience members who are meeting Sheila for the first time. Do you want to tell us a little bit about who she is, what this story is in relation to what people may or may not already know? You hear where I'm going with this?
Yeah. I mean, it's always fun when people come in and they say, like, I saw the show last year, so I had to come back for part 2. That's always exciting, but it is very much built so that you don't need to remember part 2, especially because, like, if you're a kid and you saw a show a year ago, might not remember all of the context. No one really would.
Yeah. Like a goldfish.
Yeah. Yeah, but Sheila she's very fun. She's very exciting. The first one obviously was The Princess and the Frog Prince, but it was a new version of it that people definitely hadn't seen before. So Sheila is not the princess that you might be expecting if you're meeting her for the first time. She doesn't her favorite thing to do is to play basketball. She doesn't like to follow rules that she doesn't understand. If she disagrees with something, she'll say it and she'll stand up for what she thinks. This isn't a spoiler because it's from the first one, but she does not turn the prince back. She does not turn the frog back into a prince with a kiss. She turns him back into a prince because he annoys her so much that she throws him at a wall, and that is how they break the spell. So not a version of this princess that you've met before.
Well, interestingly enough, that is closer to the original version than the Disney Kisses.
The version of Princess and the Frog Prince that we did was adapted directly from the original fairy tale. So all of those elements, even her losing a ball and the frog helps her get it back. In our version, it was a basketball. But in the original, that's part of it too, is that she's playing with a ball, loses track of it, and then that's how she meets the frog.
Well, and I think what's fascinating is that I think that moment where the frog turns back into a prince is one of the catalysts for Sheila the Magical, because a lot of folks went up to Jason. It's just like, I loved it. It was so much fun. Can you explain what happened there? It's a little confusing. And, Jason's response is, well, that's the original tale. That's really close to the original story, where the frog turns back into a prince through
violence.
And so I think that there needed to be a little bit more of a coda to the story because people were not entirely understanding what happened here.
You're ready for like true love's kiss to be the answer. It maybe needs a bit more explanation if it's something else.
Absolutely. And I think that Uncle Eustace, Ian, was a little bit of a runaway character last year. People were obsessed with the cat. So will you tell a little bit about Uncle Eustace and his relationship with Sheila?
Yes. In his sort of childhood, maybe early adulthood, he got into an accident with a potion or a stew or a baking incident, we call it. He is like gone. He disappears. And so everybody thinks he's gone. But he uses his magic to transform into a house cat. Oh. And basically grows up with all of his nieces who are in the castle.
Hides out.
Yeah, he hides out in the castle, waiting to exact his plot, his evil plan to take over the kingdom.
As Mr. Sniffles?
Yeah. Mystical warlock stuff.
If I also can just say, I'm glad that Ian is in more of this one. Because in the other one, he's a cat for the whole show and he didn't get to talk until the very last scene.
I think I had like 13 lines. Yeah.
I'm very excited that Ian has more to do in this show because he's hilarious. And he is so much fun and brings so much energy to it and like entertains the kids so much. I think Ian Higgins is the reason Uncle Eustace is so exciting to watch. I'm glad he's in this one.
I think there's something to that, India. It was really, really funny how much I heard about Mr. Sniffles after last year, and it was nonstop. And I'm like, I think he like didn't actually talk until the end.
But he stole the show.
You stole the show entirely.
Thanks.
And
likes that cat.
So I think what really intrigues me about Eustace is he kind of walks this really interesting line between a villain and a mentor and really a misunderstood kind of uncle. Right? So are we supposed to love him or hate him? There's a little bit of booing going on.
Yeah, I think
I
mix...
might be encouraging that booing. I don't know.
Maybe just a little bit. Yeah.
I think the mix of both is what makes him such an interesting character. That he genuinely like wants to be around his family, but he doesn't know exactly how to get that in the most pure way. So he comes up with a roundabout way to take over the kingdom in order to maybe get the attention he's always wanted. And it turns out that's not what he needed. He just needed his family.
Yeah, that's so sweet.
Yeah, it's just really too much. I think it's so charming. I can't deal on any level. Reading through the play, I wasn't entirely sure, am I supposed to like him or not like him? Like I couldn't, some stories are super obvious where it's just like, this is the bad guy. But then you hear, it's weird to have in a sequel also an origin story.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, that was because JKJ talked about why he wanted to write a sequel, because the first one ends with us being like, oh, Uncle Eustace, he's the evil wizard. Let's put him in the dungeon. Play over. And part of the like inspiration that JKJ talked about for wanting to continue the story was the idea that there are like other ways to resolve conflict, that there's more complexity to that. And he was like, I think kids can handle that complexity and can think about it, can be like, this person did bad things, but like, are they a bad person forever? Do they just go to the dungeon forever? Like there's a bigger question there. And I think that's a cool moral to talk about. I like that we, that it doesn't end with like, well, bad guy taken care of.
No, yeah.
Absolutely. One of the things that I do love about this musical is that the music itself doesn't interrupt the story. It really enhances it. It really helps tell the story. So since we have been talking a lot about Sheila's journey and Sheila's relationship with Uncle Eustace, or just Eustace as he prefers,
Yes.
I thought it might be fun to have our audience hear a little bit of it. What do you think? Yes?
That's a great idea. I'd love for people to hear it.
Thank you. I think it's a great idea. India, why don't you set this up?
Right. Well, we're going to listen to Take Hold from Sheila the Magical. In this number, Sheila has gone down to the dungeon to visit Uncle Eustace because she started to suspect that she might need to talk to him about magic. There's been a few things happening to Sheila that makes her think she might need to learn more about this whole magic thing. So she goes to the only magical person she knows, her Uncle Eustace.
And Eustace is thrilled.
I bet. All right, take it away.
Is that a musical introduction?
It's time you learned something, kid. If the teddy on your pillow starts to dance beneath the willow, maybe kiddo, you're a witch.
Maybe I'm a what?
If the air begins to freeze just because you had to sneeze, maybe geez, you're a witch.
What are you calling me?
If the second you're excited, all the candles just ignited, don't be frightened, you're a witch.
That's not a nice thing to say about
I don't
someone.
mean to offend you, but you should look around and notice the difference between static and sound.
No!
Wait. And there's no need to fear it, no nothing to hide. And please don't conceal it, it's your power inside. When you have big feelings, something strange happens, right? Unexpected stuff happens and you can't trust your sight. But you're blessed with the gift of those magical powers that I once possessed. Now they're yours to devour. Take your thoughts and feels, shape them into what's ours. I mean yours to imagine. You can do the things you want, do whatever you please. Feel the power, shape your whims. All the things that you need will be yours to command and yours to control. Sheila magical powers now are yours, so take hold, take hold, take hold, take hold, take hold. Just imagine and focus, then channel your thoughts to the things that you wish for, and don't be distraught if it takes a long time. Concentrate on that spot, believe you can do it, and behold what you've wrought. Take hold, take hold, take hold,
Take hold. I've taken hold. I'll never let go now. I won't lose my grip. My power won't slip through these fingers of mine. If I just stay the course and take hold.
Yes, these fingers have magical force, and your mind can control them if you just stay the course and take hold. Take hold. Take achoo!
Bless you.
Thank you. Take hold.
Well, I don't know about everybody listening, but I know I'm even more excited to see this show. One of the things that occurred to me, why does Sheila even think that she could trust Uncle Eustace?
It's a good question. There's some dialogue around that when we're talking. It's like, how do I know if I should trust you? Maybe you shouldn't. There's some of that happening.
Yeah, I think there's like the desperate need for information that's the driving force of the scene. And Eustace has that information and that experience. And it's about like being different. You're different from everybody.
And there's no one else I know who might understand it. There also is there's some stuff in there about like, you don't seem that bad to me. I know you did something bad, but I think there's more there that I want to learn about.
This first scene
all
is
of that is
really relationship building and showing, cracking open Eustace a little bit.
Yeah. Does Eustace love his family?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Maybe he doesn't recognize it or realize it or can't articulate it that way, but truly, yes.
So Eustace isn't only about manipulation at this point. Like there is some level of mentorship that Eustace really does want to achieve.
Why else would he spend his entire lifetime growing up with all of the nieces and spending time with them and eating tacos at Taco Tuesday?
Tacos.
Yes.
It's really exciting when I start asking questions about magic and I get to see Ian's face go, ooh. Uncle Eustace is very excited to be able to connect with his niece, Sheila.
It's his niche. It's his niece. Yeah.
I
There
love
it
that.
is.
I love that. Absolutely. I think one of the big things that I took away from this story is less about Sheila being just magical, but there are a lot of really, and I think you say it in the song, there's a lot of really big emotions in all of this. There's about, I wouldn't say manipulating your emotions. It's more like you're understanding your emotions and how it impacts the world around you, and it manifests itself as magic.
Figuring out how to control it. That was also doing the first one last year before the sequel was an idea. That was something that I struggled with sometimes, is that like the climax of the show is this moment where Sheila gets really, really angry and like lashes out. And of course that's like such a real thing, especially for kids watching. Like kids have big emotions. It's sometimes really hard to control them. But sometimes I noticed myself feeling very angry and having to focus on like the positives to make it more engaging. And I'm glad that in the sequel we can be like, yes, sometimes you have big emotions and sometimes they have like big consequences, and you have to figure out how to tap into that and how to use it to not hurt people around you. Obviously we're talking about magic, but that's a thing that I think is relatable to a lot of kids, is like sometimes you feel like there's a moment in the show where I stamp my foot and there's kind of a wave of magic that goes out and everyone on stage goes, whoa. And I have to be like, oh, sorry. I think it's cool to be able to visually show that like you can have really big feelings, but you have to be careful to not let it hurt the people around you. I like that. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I think Eustace is very conscious of that. He doesn't attack people in a way that harms them. He transforms people into what he thinks is funny, and just like animals. That's like his main spell, is transforming people into animals. And I think that's a very pacifist way, but like not really helping the situation.
So is Eustace just being mischievous in this whole thing? Can you refresh my memory? Why in the first place did Eustace turn the prince into a frog? So
yeah, his goal was to transform him into a frog in order to make the magical princess give up the kingdom. This was a big plot point in the first one. The frog had to eat from her plate, drink from her cup, and sleep on her pillow. And those three requirements would give the kingdom over to me.
It's like a
ritual
type of thing that he was setting up.
So I manipulated Ferdinand the frog to get those requirements in order for her magic to transfer the power of the kingdom to me.
Yes. I see.
You can see why we maybe needed a sequel to expand on the magic of it, because that's mentioned in the first one. But then it's like, whoa, how does that happen? Why is Sheila the one that has to do that? And how did the spell break? Like all of that is like, yeah.
Well, there's this idea where it's just like when you're feeling that gap in your heart and you don't have family, the only thing that really fills that is world domination.
Control.
And isn't that relatable to everyone listening?
I feel like it. It's a really wonderful family dynamic. I think that the whole cast is showing off. It's just even with the kind of kooky dad and things like that. Do you want to talk a little bit about that whole family and the sister who's away at college and everything?
Well, yes, Sandy off at culinary school. It's always really exciting when you have the big scenes with everyone on stage, especially because with the kids shows, the audience can sit on the stage with us. So in the moments when everyone comes out as animals and they like all have their puppets, you can look around at any corner of the stage and see some type of interaction happening, whether it's like a kid pointing at the dog and being like, "Oh my gosh, I have a dog at home too." Or like someone looking at the bird and being like, "Whoa, look, its wings flap." Like that's always so exciting that even while there's a scene going on, when you have everyone on stage like that, there are so many little moments of connection and of like building that relationship with the audience that I think is really exciting about kids theater, that you can like talk right to them and have that pathway.
Yeah, and since we're all DeSales students, we've most of us have been with each other for like 2 years plus. And so we're really all so close. We are one little family, truly. So it doesn't make it too hard for us to interact with each other in a way that's family-like.
How do you find that your experience here at Pennsylvania Shakespeare Festival differs from the work that you do throughout the semesters?
There's more expectations on us to bring readiness to each rehearsal room and maybe be in 3 rehearsal rooms a day.
Sure.
Which is a lot of time given, but time given to stuff we love.
Yeah.
And we make connections with everyone and we build a community.
We at DeSales, we all work with each other year after year, and we really build like a family of working with the same people, of understanding how each other work, of getting closer to each other every time we work together. And then it's really exciting that at PSF, we still have that family in the young company. We still have those people that we're really comfortable with, and we spend every day working with new people as well, and really stretching our limits of what we can do, making new connections, experiencing new things. It's very exciting. It's a really nice mix to still have the DeSales home base with the rest of the young company and to meet new people every time.
What is also a different aspect throughout the school year, you're not doing this many productions with the same kind of company as you ordinarily would. You are all being cast in different things, and the timeline is a little bit less compressed.
Yes. Yeah. We do 4 productions throughout the whole school year at DeSales, and then over the summer, every young company member is involved in 4 productions in just these 3 months.
Yeah.
The timeline is definitely compressed. That's what Ian was saying about having that like preparation, that we have more time before the summer starts to get ready. So then once it starts, it is nonstop, which is really exciting.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, when you do so many rehearsal rooms, you can't help but exercise that creative part of your brain and really gain like a new side of yourself that you maybe can't find during like one show in a school year that you might get cast. So being cast is really a privilege and a gift in this, that we get to really hone our craft and be open to learning everything about this world and the world of theater that we get to partake in.
Really, really being open is a big thing, because there's a lot of flexibility that's involved with all of it. And if something happens, the kind of responsibility of like, there aren't teachers that are like running everything. There are still like directors who are in charge of the room and all of that, but like young company does a lot of like problem solving and a lot of like working together and collaborating. Yeah.
We've had a little bit of understudy drama going on this season, and you are understudying David Pica. That's a lift. Are you off book? Are you ready to go?
Yes.
I love that.
Honestly, I've understudied so many things, especially in my time at DeSales. I've been an understudy for probably 5+ shows. And there is not a show I feel more prepared to go on for than the complete works of Jane Austen Abridged.
Dang.
Partly because of our director and co-writer, Jessica Bedford, who is
Also on faculty here at DeSales.
also, yes,
Yeah.
also our artistic director. correct?
Yes,
Yeah.
back to sales.
So she's a joy, and truly, it's such a pleasure to work with her every time I get to. And she's half, if not all of the reason I feel so prepared. And also, I mean, David is so uplifting to me, especially. It's really such a great company of people. And I if I got the call right now to go on, I would be ready.
I love that. It's such a really important responsibility to shoulder. We have to place a lot of trust in our understudies to be able to make a lift when we need them to. So it is a really great responsibility. And I'm so glad that you are taking this to heart and really going for it. This is your second year in the Young Company, and this is your
Second year as well.
oh my gosh, this is both of your second years in the Young Company. How has this year been different from last year? Last year you were coming in, you were fresh, you were new, and this year it's kind of like you have a lot under your belt already.
It's true. There's a level of comfort this year. I think last year it was all so new. I was going to say being younger, 1 year younger, but being slightly younger than I was, I felt it's so intimidating to step into a room with professionals. Last year was my first professional contract ever. So it's so intimidating to step into a room with people who like have been doing this and have a career doing this and offer your thoughts and suggestions. It's very difficult to start to feel comfortable doing that. And I'm very happy to say that this year I feel more secure being in the room and being a part of these creative processes and offering thoughts. It's easier knowing that it is possible, that I did it last year, that I can do it again. I'm feeling more at ease contributing with other people.
I second that. Ditto, emphasize message.
Emphasize
Yes.
message.
Yeah, Ian, tell me a little bit more. I mean, this is not good enough.
Give my Gen Z answer.
I took all the good words.
You took all the buzzwords. Yeah. The first
I'm just teasing you. You don't have to elaborate. I think if you can, that would be amazeballs. But I mean, otherwise,
Ian loves the word amazeballs.
That's one of my favorite words.
it's one of my favorite words.
Oh my gosh.
Twinsies.
Twins.
Eat.
No, yeah, I do have some words about that.
Okay.
Like last year, like being around so many equity actors and stuff. And I was like a named role in Rosencrantz and Guildenstern. I didn't have many lines, but I was still around everybody and encouraged to make some out there choices. And it was like a trial by fire. Like I didn't know sometimes if it was like the right, but there is no right choice. So having that first year to really get acclimated to the waters of a professional company, bringing yourself into each role. And we always say, allow yourself to play.
Give yourself permission.
Give yourself permission to play. And this year I've absolutely been able to I think one up myself from last year. And it feels like I've grown leagues between last year and this year. Also I've gotten the opportunity to use the full year of being at DeSales and doing some shows this past year to really grow up to what I feel is now I'm ready to be at a professional level.
That's amazing. Yeah, it's a year's worth of opportunity within 10 weeks.
Yeah.
It really is something. And you are both really great people, great actors, and we're so happy that you're with us. So thank you for representing the Young Company and Pennsylvania Shakespeare Festival so beautifully.
Thank you.
Shucks, thanks.
Anzia, Ian, thank you so much for joining us today.
Oh, thank you for
Thank
having
you
us.
for having us.
Legends, lovers, and timeless drama. It's all happening at PA Shakespeare Festival this summer. Join us for the Legends and Legacy season, celebrating our 35th anniversary. Subscriptions to the 2026 Summer Theater Series are on sale now. Get yours at pashakespeare.org.
Our next guest has been part of PSF legacy since its earliest days. He first came to the festival as a student of Allentown College of St. Francis de Sales and has since acted in or directed more than 50 productions at PSF. Beyond the festival, he's worked with many of Philadelphia region's leading theaters, including Arden Theater, People's Light, Walnut Street Theater, Bristol Riverside Theater, and many others. He's a 13-time Barrymore Award nominee and a 2-time winner for Outstanding Direction, and is also a recipient of the F. Otto Haas Award. This summer, he returns to PSF to direct Ken Ludwig's Moriarty, a theatrical mystery that brings Sherlock Holmes, Dr. Watson, and their greatest adversary to the stage. Welcome, Matt Pfeiffer.
Hi.
Hey, Matt. How are you?
I'm great.
That's a long wind-up, making you sound very, very important.
My bio is much better than I am.
No, I mean, I think you are a very humble when it comes to the amount of work you've been able to do. I mean, when you present yourself, wearing a Lou Reed was my babysitter sweatshirt and one of many Philadelphia sports baseball caps.
This is a new one.
Yeah.
There's a new one for the All-Star game.
It's a great hat. It's a great hat.
I really like it.
Yeah.
I saw it. I got served an ad for it, and I was like, I must have it.
They knew you.
Then Fanatics, no free plugs. Fanatics was like, we'll give you $5 off that hat.
Oh, really?
So, great.
They totally know their audience. Yeah. I get like leather products, like leather journal, leather.
I was going to say, it's good that you amended what those products were.
True. Yes, it is. This is a family podcast. It was like, journaling, a new briefcase.
Yes, it's good.
Would you like a fountain pen?
Yeah, I don't get any of that stuff. I get baseball caps.
There you go. So we're going to do a little bit of just talk about kind of a look back and a look ahead.
Yeah.
You've got some institutional longevity, and I'd love to just have a little bit of a conversation about that because, you did start as a student. You've stayed connected to PSF for a long time, and then you've grown professionally alongside Pennsylvania Shakespeare Festival. And you've spoken with me about this in the past, about the impact that PSF has really had on your career and how you've grown with it and it has grown with you. So how has your relationship evolved, going from like a student to an actor to a director to an advisor to me, like somebody that I reach out to when I'm thinking about what the season's going to look like?
It's a unique experience. When I meet other people in the profession, that you don't typically as a freelancer get this opportunity to have an association as a freelance artist. People's Light, for example, has a company. Right. The Wilma Theater in Philadelphia has a company.
Yeah, the Hot House, right? Yeah.
Yeah, when you become a company member of something, that kind of contractually obligates you to them, at least even just nominally. And PSF doesn't have that. We have a lot of returning and rotating people that have been here over that long time. I mean, there are many, many artists like Greg Wood, Grace Konglevsky, Tony Lawton that have been here since I was a student. Mm. But they all have some breaks and they all have some stretches where they're not here.
Sure.
And for whatever reason, just the way that the stars aligned, Father Schubert and I had a relationship. He was my advisor when I was a student. We had a very good relationship. And I think he saw something in me enough that when I graduated, I came back that very next year and he let me be in the non-equity company, but also had me be involved with the Green Show creatively. Uh-huh. And so that just happened to coincide with the next year that he gave me the Green Show. Yeah. And Jack Young, who was taking over for him, was visiting that summer, much like the way you and I met. He came and visited. And it happened to be that I was wearing a Sixers jersey because the Sixers were in the finals.
Nice.
And he wanted to give me no end of nonsense about how the Lakers were going to beat the Sixers. He was right, by the way. That's not a hot take that the Shaq Kobe Lakers beat Allen Iverson. But that was a little bit of a bonding thing for us. And he was coming in much like you with an open deck of like, I don't know what this is going to be and how I'm going to do it. Sure. And I said, well, I'd love to come back and direct the Green Show again. And if you don't have a director of the children's show, I would love to do that too. And he said, great. At that point in my career, I was a working actor in Philadelphia, and I had directed a few little things. I had directed a kids show for Brat Productions for the Fringe Festival and was kind of nibbling around. I had AD'd a few things, but I was mostly a working actor.
Right.
And that envoy to you can direct the intern company at the time. Mm-hmm. And then when Patrick came back 2 years later, Patrick was also my teacher, and we had a relationship, and he said, great, you should continue to do this. Mm-hmm. And so I did. And so for 3 years, I kind of cut my teeth as a young director, directing the kids show and directing the Green Show, which used to, be our sort of, I always called it Shakespeare Saturday Night Live.
Right.
But all of those opportunities created an aesthetic for me here at PSF.
Yeah.
And just gave me a foothold in the company that I would not have had it not been for Jack. I mean, Jack really was the one that opened that door for me. And then he also hired me to do Willpower. So all of my early opportunities as a director were through PSF. You know, I got my equity card and I was working around Philadelphia Theater as an actor.
Right.
And I'd come here in the summer and I would get to direct. And so that, I think between Jack and Patrick kind of cemented a relationship for me. And then obviously in Philly, I started to direct for smaller non-equity companies and then equity companies and then larger theaters.
Right.
And my progress here at PSF as a director and an artist was in some ways lagging then behind what I was doing in Philly. I mean, I directed my first Shakespeare play not here at PSF.
Right.
I directed that at the Ardent. And I think some of that naturally happens. You know, you've experienced it. You know, when you're a student, your teachers kind of always see you as a student. You know, it's very hard to get past that point. I mean, kind of what you're doing with Maya as Juliet this summer is that opportunity is far and few between for most people who come to this program. And so it took me a while, I think, to gain the trust of the institution that actually I was a real boy, that I was actually doing real work, and, you know, Barrymore Awards or whatever, part of that I think is part of it. But then I did 39 Steps in 2013, and that was a huge hit, box office hit for the festival. And that changed the math on who I was in the festival's eyes.
It wasn't the Barrymore Award. It was the fact that you could sell tickets for us.
I mean, you know, at the end of the day, that's, you know, there's a lot to be said for that. I don't take any credit for those ticket sales, quite frankly. I think that has more to do with 39 Steps and Steve Burns starring in it. But I'll take the credit. Burnsy is fine. He could buy my block, so he's fine. But anyway, that's kind of how the journey progressed. It was a little bit Nicholas Nickleby and the kind of like it was just circumstance. And obviously as an artist, you have to get the opportunities, but then you have to be ready to take advantage of the opportunities. It's not enough just to have friendships. It's not enough just to have relationships.
Oh,
if I stunk or I couldn't make something good, or I was, you know, pointedly something more important to me, and you and I have talked about this, but I want to leave every place I'm at better than I found it.
Sure.
And decentering yourself as a director is a very hard thing to do. But I'm an actor first. I have actor training. That's how I came into the profession. And so I think of the profession collaboratively in that way. Yeah. But that, I think, is what has steadied me through my career, is that I really am trying to find the best version of something in the room with these people. And in some ways, it's also been a slight deficit in my career. There are other more visionary, quote unquote, centered directors that I think have gotten further than I have. You know, I've never developed something that's gone to New York or found a larger stage. Some things go abroad. I had some things go to the Edinburgh Fringe Festival and win some awards, but I've never made something that's had its own life outside of me, you know, like Jane Austen that's here this summer. You know, Jessica and Casey and Charlotte wrote that how many years ago?
And Megan.
And Megan, yeah, I always forget Megan. God bless Megan Winch. But those playwrights, you know, that they created that together, and that's had its own life. Or what Penelope is going through for Alex Bechtel. Right. So there's this world where you make something that then kind of outlasts you, and I haven't done that. And I think partially why I haven't done that is because my work has been mostly about the here and now and these people, and I have not made something that. Anyway.
Yeah, but you are an interpretive artist, right? Like there's a lot of interpretation that is required in order to make plays that on the paper just kind of look okay, that can really lift off the page and have a really kind of amazing experience with the audience. And what you've said is that you really try to like bring the best out of the artists that you have. And I will say that you add analysis, whether you think about it or not, you're adding analysis into the work. And I'm wondering if you can speak a little bit about an example of that. I'm thinking specifically about Moriarty, since that's coming up. If you can talk a little bit about what's the approach that you've taken to this production and how your interpretation and the style of interpretation with the artists that you have and the artists that you want to collect is going to be manifest in a production like this.
I've done several pieces like this. You know, I did 39 Steps. Ken Ludwig is clearly inspired by that kind of aesthetic. Sure. Taking Hitchcock in that case and translating it to stage. Yeah. Patrick Barlow did that, but I've also done another adaptation of How the Baskervilles where 3 actors do it. And I've done complete works, and I've done things that are theatrically stripped down in an attempt to kind of celebrate what we do in the theater that you can't do on film. Right. You know, the Holmes stories have been translated in every conceivable medium, from a platitude of movies to an award-winning TV show. And obviously it's been done on stage since the early turn of the century, the previous century.
Yeah.
So there is a theatrical legacy of the character interpreted throughout media. And so when adapting it, Ken clearly was interested in the theatricality of the character and the theatricality of the stories. But in what he's written, it's pretty open-ended as to how you should do that.
Right.
39 Steps is a little bit more prescriptive, mostly because of the way it was developed.
Sure.
This play has only had a few productions. So I don't know that Ken has arrived at a sort of full realization of this is how the play should be done.
Yeah, the original production was at Cleveland Playhouse, and of course, had a budget and had more of a. It wasn't being done in repertory with something else, right?
Well, I mean, I think that he smartly, because he has Hound of the Baskervilles adaptation as well, and I think a lot of his literary adaptations ride this line of if you have the budget, do more. If you don't have the budget, do less. Sure. But he also has 3 actors playing. I forget how many roles it is, but really only Holmes and Watson.
Yeah, it's a total of 37 roles for the whole thing.
Yeah, they're the only ones that don't double. So he has already baked in a theatrical conceit.
Yeah.
So, Alex Bechtel and I have been working together here at PSF for 10 years.
Right.
Over 10 years. And Alex was so key to me unlocking how to put Shakespeare on stage. There was something about being able to use live music that theatricalized the poetry, that theatricalized the event in a way that alleviated me creatively from what I didn't want to do.
Right.
Which was I didn't want to set it in 1950s Greece. I didn't want to, I was not interested in doing Shakespeare in that way. And so Alex was a real conduit for that. So when I was looking at this script and going, well, it's sweeping and it's got to go a lot of locations and there's theatricality, there's a puppet in the play. And I think I was looking for an envelope to put all that in. And so my collaboration with Bechtel was pretty intuitive to that response. And before you got here, Connie and I were talking about, there's a whole BBC has recorded all of the Holmes tales as radio plays.
Yeah.
So I thought, could we hear clip clop of horses and bells on shop doors and gunshots are not coming from guns? And so what if we did it more like a radio play, that we had Foley and we had live theatricality in the sound area that would kind of force us into underscoring the play. So I would say that all of that for me didn't come really from the outside, and it came from inside of how to put this story on stage and thinking about the action and thinking about the melodrama that Ken was asking for, and then building out from that. So it still I don't feel like I'm imposing anything on it. I think I'm responding to the material and trying to find a way to make the event for an audience exciting and new and something they have not seen before, I think.
And we're going into tech in a couple of days. Yeah. When we finish, we're opening Romeo and Juliet. With the time of this recording, we're having our second preview of Romeo and Juliet tonight. And so in a couple of days, you're going to be going into tech. So you've seen it in the rehearsal room. You've seen it how it's working there. How's the experiment working for you? How are you feeling about how it's illuminating and bringing out the story? I
mean, this happens a lot with Bechtel, where he's made some things compositionally, and then he brings them into the room. And you go, okay, great. We're going to try it now with what Alex has written.
Yeah.
And you watch these actors go, oh, great. Oh, great. Okay. And the way that it changes the chemistry in the room, Bechtel is such a brilliant artist, and he really is such a gifted composer that he really is able to strike that. And Bechtel also an actor.
Yeah.
And trained at Pig Iron, a deviser, someone who really understands the breadth of theatricality. Yeah. I think it's different if you're working with someone who just would compose music for you. I mean, there's a lot of great theater composers, obviously. But having somebody who is intuitive to text, I'm gonna make something that has to go under this scene. And so the minute that was in the room, it felt like everybody agreed that was proof of concept, that what we were trying to do was correct, that this was definitely what we should do. Sure. Nobody turned and said, they're going to play the whole time? So in general, that's right now where we're at in the process, is we've had such a good time and it's such a wonderful, inventive group of people, and our willingness to throw out bad ideas, our willingness to experiment with, Ken has the actor who plays, actor 5, who Karen Peaks plays. In her track, she comments on the play at one point. Right. She steps outside of it. And once you have that in the play, there is a little bit of okay, the playwright's sort of nodding that these players are aware that we are telling the story, even if there's no overt device. And maybe I could talk a little bit about that.
Sure. Yeah.
From a design perspective, 39 Steps, The Hound of the Baskervilles, some of these other literary adaptations I've done, they've all been set in theaters.
Yeah.
And when I met with Brian Bembridge, our senior designer, for the first time, he said, "Oh, please, not another theater." and I think he was right. There was something that Holmes doesn't live in a theater.
Yeah.
It's more, he's a literary character. And so we started casting about what kind of environment could we make? And we, I think, quite inspired, settled on this idea of like a Sherlock Holmes museum.
Yeah.
A place that had, because Ken isn't writing one story. This is Ken's story riffing from about, I forget the grand total. It's something like, I think 10 or 12 different Holmes tales.
Right.
Moriarty appears in 3, I believe, or he's referenced in 3, but the famous, the final solution, final problem.
We will fact check that, and you're going to hear me step in and go,
I think because when it was adapted to screen, I think it was changed to Final Problem. Anyway, we because Ken is riffing from the oeuvre of Conan Doyle, whose name I haven't said. He's riffing from the complete works of Conan Doyle. I thought an environment that had references to everything from the Holmes oeuvre would give us a kind of vehicle. And Watson, as is typical of the case, Watson tells the story. And so the idea of Watson in a kind of Horatio guise, Horatio is charged at the end of Hamlet with telling the tale of Hamlet. And I always had this idea about doing Hamlet where it starts with Horatio coming back to Elsinore, to go, right, this is where it all took place, this story I'm intended to carry. I had that kind of image in my head of Watson arriving at this museum and seeing the iconography and going, yeah, I want to put myself back in that place and kind of arriving at a way to do that.
With the book turned at The Final Problem,
yes.
Which is the title of the short story.
Correct. The Final Problem. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I was right. I whatever I said. Either way, then we suddenly had all these things in the room that would help bring the story to life. And so the Foley and making trains out of chairs and rolling carts and museum iconography like rolling library ladder and a flat file that has different information in it. All of that lent itself to everything I would need to tell the story.
Sure.
So I felt like I could confidently go into rehearsal and go, here is the playground, here are the pieces we have to work with, and then go from there. And I think Ken's play has benefited. I shouldn't say benefited, but I think the play and the approach has been a great marriage. And I think we're having great fun as a result of it.
Yeah, it looks like you guys are having fun having watched some rehearsals.
Yeah.
Speaking of elements and storytelling, I'd love to shift over to S4K, which is literally a play that comes out of a trunk with a robot.
It's true. I mean, I did a one-man Dracula here at PSF that I directed Chris Mullen in 2008. That was the first non-children's play I did here.
Yeah.
And that had a lot of theatrical invention. Jim Helsinger wrote it, and they had done it in Orlando, and the great Bob Phillips and I, kind of came up with a room for Chris to have all the things to tell the Dracula tale. So the very first thing I ever did here was very much in this vein. And then the next year I did Complete Works, which, as you know, is also in the same vein. A bunch of, and you're pulling from a trunk, you're throwing a wig on, you're doing. So aesthetically, a lot of the things I did at the very beginning of my work here at PSF is in Shakespeare for Kids. Erin Sheffield, when she was writing, as the education director, started writing this project, Shakespeare for Kids, it was all modeled on Complete Works.
Yeah.
And that was the template, 3 actors who are kind of idiots at their core, but also love the material. And so how do we do that? And that translates quite well for kids because kids love idiots. I say that as a father. That model of Complete Works and trying to find a dumb way to tell the story of Hamlet or Romeo and Juliet. And instead of it being, we're going to tell you all, then we're just going to do one. Where every day the team Shakespeare is going to be assigned a super secret Shakespeare assignment, and it's going to be one of Shakespeare's plays, and they have encyclopedic knowledge until they don't. And so Aaron directed it the first few years. And then at some point, I don't remember what year. I really wish I could remember. I don't know if it was 14 or 15. Somewhere in there, I took it over. And it just appeals to my dumb sensibility. It appeals to my comic sensibility. I started doing that. I mean, obviously, I did kid shows here for years.
Sure.
And as an actor, as an intern, doing that material for children, I learned more about how to be an actor in those rooms than I did anywhere else. I mean, Patrick was a great acting teacher. I had great training. There's nothing like 10:15 on a Thursday morning in July and 100 kids sitting on the floor looking at you like, go ahead. Go ahead. Otherwise, I'm going to look at my Game Boy.
Yeah.
Or phones now, I guess. But, you know, I was here in the 90s. But that test of not how do I force you to engage with me, but the bar for your attention is very high.
Yeah.
And so I got to fill this thing with everything I know how to do. And I think pretty deep in my DNA as a creative person is that we're here. We paid. So make it count.
Yeah.
And Shakespeare for Kids allows young children to have access to Shakespeare and theater in a way that I promise you they will not get anywhere else. That what we make is wholly unique to us. And you don't have to like it, but it's wholly unique to us and our aesthetics and our ideas. And I think that there's something really, I still find really rewarding about it. It's the same with Willpower. Yeah. You know, all these years of doing Willpower, that one-to-one connection you get to have with your audience, I just don't get that a lot. I mean, like, I'm fortunate. I'm, you know, what do the kids say? I'm booked and blessed. You know, like I have work all year and I'm going to do a variety of plays that have nothing to do with Shakespeare. Yeah. You know, I'm doing Conor McPherson and I'm doing God of Carnage and I'm doing, you know, like I'm doing a whole range of things that have nothing. And those will all be great experiences. I know they will. But it's not that same connection you get when you're putting something in front of an audience that legitimately can be changed by it. I think that my desire to be funny and sincere in the same breath, you know, I think as a young theater student, I was really interested in playwrights that could do the dark and the light in the same moment. That's why Twelfth Night is my favorite play that Shakespeare wrote. Yeah. Hamlet's close because they both do the same thing. They both are funny and incredibly sad.
Both written in the same year, too.
Same time. Yeah. And you can feel, it's why, with all respect to Hamlet, I found Hamlet to be a little reductive because it kind of says, well, that's why.
Sure.
You go, no, he actually was talking about death and mourning in a much, much more interesting way. Mm-hmm. It wasn't quite as didactic as my son died, so I have to write a play about a dead person. Mm-hmm. It was, what is the idea of mourning? And what is the idea of how funerals are funny. Funerals can be fun. Yeah. And I think somewhere in me is a real desire to want to bring that to bear. That catharsis in a theatrical experience happens because you can feel sadness and then lift it out by poetry or comedy. And I think when those things sit side by side, that's the best we have to offer as theater makers is a place where people can come and laugh so hard until they cry. And then hopefully you know, Shakespeare often gives you a song at the end that makes it okay. So this morning, you know, coming from rehearsal for Shakespeare for Kids and, you know, we're meeting Romeo and Juliet meet, and you have these young actors kind of inhabiting middle school age students as kind of their id. You know, they're grown, as Connie said earlier, they're young adults. But the young adults in the room trying to inhabit a child's mindset of, so wait, at the end of this, everybody dies? Yeah. Why are we doing this for children? Mm-hmm. It's great. You know, it's great. You just go, okay, let's talk about it. Let's talk about, you know, I've had to go through the experience of watching my children learn about death in a real way. Yeah. And that is hard. It's been hard. It continues to be hard. It doesn't get easier, even though, you know, their grandfather's gone 2 years. It doesn't get easier. Right. And there's something about being able to do material that allows for kids to think and engage in dark ideas. But then there's rubber chickens. Yeah. And that I think is, I don't know. And Moriarty's kind of the same way, that there is genuine emotion and pathos in it. And there's also Ian Merrill Peaks and drag and a big dumb dog puppet. And, you know, that's the best stuff. The stuff that Shakespeare's company was doing in 1590. You know, they were showing up on the day with their 6 pages going, I have to put yellow stockings on? Yep. What's that about? Yep. Just do it. You know, there is a sense of, we're on. We got a show tomorrow. Let's
do it. Yeah.
And PSF is like that. You know, PSF, how many shows? It's 9? 9 productions. It's chaos. But it's the best kind of chaos. I mean, we've been so lucky all these years to have these people that are frustrated and stymied and inspired and love and hate and go through meeting their significant others here and are here when their children are born, like me.
Yeah.
There's so much life in the chaos that I do think that that's what makes the place sustain and continue to obtain power, because people need that. They need that in their lives. And I think that that's, I somehow feel like, Jerry used to say, Father Jerry would say, he would often quote, "You build it, they will come."
Mm-hmm.
That was the dream when this place was nothing here. And he was right. He recognized something in this place, this community, this environment that needed this kind of work. And I think 35 years on, he was right, and he was seldom wrong. And if he was, he would not admit it. So I think that's critical to editorialize my perspective. But I think that the material we put on stage all these years is emblematic of a kind of Elizabethan company chaos, where you had to get the guy from the bar to come in and be the porter, Sometimes we have to do that. We have to go collect somebody from the fire pit.
Yeah.
So there's something about the place that I think you can't shake, even when it's down low, even when the artistic director's building scenery, or we have to cancel a preview, or an actor gets sick, or we don't have a set for tech, pick a thing. One of the beauties of, and Casey's the only other person I could relate to this with me, Casey Gallagher, is that whatever problem you have today, whatever conundrum is facing the theater today, it happened.
Yeah.
It's already happened.
Yeah.
It happened in 1997. And it also happened in 2002. I mean, even last year when the producer said to cancel a preview, everyone's like, it's like, we've canceled previews. That's happened.
Yeah.
Sorry to tell you that your particular episode today is not the only time. And somebody, I guess, could objectively look at that and go like, well, you're unhealthy then. And I go, no, we're making art.
Yeah.
And that's the way it goes. It's not a perfect science. If it was, we wouldn't do it. I mean, the beauty of our profession is it's inherently imperfect. That's the beauty of it to me. When the audience that comes to watch Romeo and Juliet tonight, whatever experience they have, the people that come tomorrow night will not have the same experience.
Sure.
They might generally have the same experience, but they weren't there the night the person coughed on Mercutio's joke line and it got a huge laugh in the house. Or they weren't there the night that Akeem Davis went into the audience and somebody handed him a water.
Right.
That's the beauty of coming to the theater, is that you just don't know. When you listen, I want to put on Netflix like anybody else, but I'm pretty sure I know exactly what I'm going to get. It's not a mystery. I'm not confused. I can be frustrated that Three-Bodied Problem has a weird ending, but I, whatever. I agreed to watch it. The theater, that's part of the contract with your ticket.
Mm-hmm.
You come and you get invited to the circus for a night, and you might see something that changes your life, and you might see something that you really hated, and everything in between. And so, in general, I think that's what has sustained our theater, is that we're just doing some of the best material that's ever been put to paper and or parchment. And it still breathes. It still lives.
Yeah. I was going to ask you a follow-up question, but that was 10 minutes ago.
I have dreams of like going on Terry Gross and Terry Gross being like, we're never having him again. He doesn't show.
We cannot stick to time.
Yes.
No, that's the beauty of long form content, is that we don't have to stick to time.
Is there anything else? I mean, I monologued a little bit.
I know you were going to say goodbye at this point. I just wanted to ask a quick question to actually the both of you.
Sure.
You're both working on the rep with the same actors.
We are.
What did you two do to come together to decide which actors you were going to pick to play in both plays? Does that make sense?
It was a fist fight.
Yeah. Is that why we have the big cage set up at the office? I was wondering, is that going to be there for the whole
Jason's
season?
much bigger than I am. I mean, this is an interesting rep because my cast is only 5 actors. It's harder when, I've done it years with Jim Helsinger and Rick Sordelay. When you have 2 big casts, it's harder.
Yeah.
In my case, I was able to go very early on and say, I have an idea about who I'd like to play Sherlock Holmes. How's that fit with you?
Yeah.
And I knew I wanted Maboud to do it. I thought I've worked with Maboud a bunch, and I just think he's such a smart actor, but he also has such a healthy level of cynicism that is key to Holmes. And I just thought his energy was right. And then that very quickly pivoted to, okay, great. He's not going to play Romeo, obviously.
Right.
So that the balance of where do you have, as a director, when you're collaborating with another director, you're kind of going, okay, here's maybe a better way to say it is when I was collaborating with Rick, he was doing Three Musketeers and I was doing As You Like It. I could say Jaques, Rosalind, Orlando, and Touchstone. I need them. I'm gonna prioritize those 4 roles.
Right.
You give me my first choice of those 4 roles. You can have wherever else you want. I need those 4 people. It doesn't mean we won't collaborate, but I need Marty Schulenberg, and I need Zach Robidas, and I need Emerald Peaks, and I need Dan Hodge. You can have everybody else. I'll work with. We can find them. Yeah. I think in general, I know, is that a fair way to say it?
It was close. It was close to that. Yeah. Maboud was, I think, somebody that was both on our list for us for both of the shows. I think we had, of the 5 that are in your company, we knew ultimately it's going to be great if it's the Capulet family, the Montague family, and then the Friar. And we kind of figured out what the roles were going to be, right. How they would match with Moriarty, because then it just also freed up, again, for with Romeo and Juliet, it's not going to be Romeo, it's not going to be Juliet. The younger generation, the teenagers in the family, it just meant that oh great, I can rehearse with them a lot of other times.
Yeah.
So it worked out in a kind of synergistic way. But then there was also maybe the nurse is going to be that, because that somebody that has that kind of comedic chops could. That didn't work out. We went another direction with those 5.
Right.
So that's kind of how this particular one worked out. But I'm looking ahead, and Jen Childs is directing Noises Off next year, and I'm directing King Lear, and that's like a spreadsheet. Right.
Right.
Because that math is much more complicated, and all 10 of the people in Noises Off have to be excellent at comedy and have to slot in perfectly in King Lear. And so that's going to be that'll be a lot longer conversation next year on the calculus required for that. This one was much easier, frankly.
Yeah.
I would have actually thought it was the opposite, because Romeo and Juliet is what it is.
No, I think it's just because the way that Romeo and Juliet is, as Jason said, is divided up. There is a younger generation and an older generation, and I think that's why having Maboud as the first person we cast, that kind of, and then everything hinges on that, where you go okay, our Sherlock is a guy who could also be a dad.
Yeah.
Right. If we were saying we were going to go with younger with Holmes, and he was Mercutio, or he was Benvolio. Right. I don't think he'd ever have been Romeo, but then that would have changed it. But in general, once that that makes Watson his contemporary, it makes Irene Adler mostly his contemporary, and then the other 2 actors just have to play such a wide range. There's almost no scenario where they were going to be 20-year-olds. Right. So it was a lot of it was easier. This was pretty as reps go. This was fairly easy. Yeah, I'm sorry that you can put a nickel in me and I won't shut up, but that's what that's what my 27th season, so that's what you get. I have a lot of feelings about it.
A lot of feelings and a lot of perspective, and all that's great. And that's why we're grateful to have you here. And Matt Pfeiffer, thanks for being a part of PSF, and thanks for being a part of As You Might It.
Thank you so much for having me.
And that wraps up another episode of As You Might It. A huge thanks to Ian Higgins, Matt Pfeiffer, and India Profitt for joining us today. Ken Ludwig's Moriarty opens on July 18th and is running in rep with Romeo and Juliet. Both Moriarty and Sheila the Magical are running through August 1st. For tickets, timelines, and details on all that PSF has to offer, like epilogues and prologues and more, visit our website at pashakespeare.org or by calling our box office at 610-282-WILL. That's 610-282-9455. For all of us here at As You Might It and Pennsylvania Shakespeare Festival, thanks for listening, and we'll see you at La Buddha. Thank you for listening to As You Might It, a Pennsylvania Shakespeare Festival presentation recorded on the beautiful campus of DeSales University. Our music is by Cedric Lamar, with hosts Jason King-Jones, Kim Carson, and Connie Behringer. Our podcast intern is James Nardiello. For more information on our summer theater series, giving opportunities, tickets, and more, visit our website at pashakespeare.org. Be sure to like, subscribe, and we'll see you at La Buddha.
Behind every standing ovation is a network of patrons who know that theater changes lives. With tickets funding only half the cost, PSF counts on contributions to produce world-class theater, cultivate new audiences, and nurture future generations of artists. Give today at pashakespeare.org/support. Great theater is a collaboration both on stage and off.